Hey everyone, this is Zach again. I'm just here with another lecture. Today I wanted to talk about the importance of Joseki and Fuseki and basically what you want to do on the board. So, many things with higher IQ players, or maybe I should say, I always get high IQ and low Q mixed up. Anyways, so double digit Q players, let's just say, is that they many times have okay reading abilities. I mean, in fights, they generally know, you know, what's going to happen if they play here or there or whatever. But really, in their beginning of the game, and in terms of Joseki and Fuseki, they're really quite weak, which is really what sets them apart from the higher Qer and low Dane players. Sorry. And so I would like to talk about that a little bit today. So just for some examples, let's say we took the wonderful Sonransei Fuseki, which I don't like playing against. And let's say white just approaches and black does normal variation. So right here, as many of us know, there's two options for black. He can either block from this side or he can block from this side. Probably, as you also know, if you block from this side, then it's considered an equal result. Of course, you're changing the direction because now if you do this, your opponent gets out to the side. And if you do this, you're giving your opponent a huge corner in exchange for influence. So, right here is a big crossroads where mid-Q players not really sure which way to block because they're not completely sure what they want to do with the board. So first you have to look at the Fuseki. With the Sonransei, you're trying to make a moyo on the right side. So by blocking on this side and playing out this variation, you just gave your opponent, you just put your opponent in the side you're trying to build a moyo on. So that's generally not the best thing because that's not what you wanted with the Sonransei. You're going against what you first wanted to do with your Fuseki. So when you come to a certain crossroads in a Joseki, always think about what you're trying to do. Are you trying to make a moyo on this side? Are you trying to make a moyo on that side? Are you trying to gain territory in a certain area? Is there something else you want to do? So also, much of it's based on your style of play. So if it went like this is pretty peaceful. There's still some oddity for white with cuts around this area, but most likely not as much. So like this, black is pretty secure. You still have ways of reducing black if for some reason he gets moves over on this side later and starts creating some territory over here. So this way you might like just because you can reduce black on the left potentially later, and there's some oddity with cuts around 016. There's also another variation which goes like this. Okay, so this way, as you can see, white is completely surrounded and black is much more solid than before. He's much thicker. Of course, there's still possible reduction on the left side later, but excuse me. Your black is much thicker than he was before, and he's much stronger than he was before. The difference is that now white has reductions over on this side. Now he can do moves like this. To reduce black later. So it's in picking Josekis and Fusekis, it's much based on your style of play, but a lot of it you do have to know what you're doing or what you want to do. This again with this Sonransei, you see that you're trying to create a moyo on the right side. So you come to a crossroads where you're determining which Joseki you want to pick. Pick it based on what it's going to do. And that's why I say a lot of people think that Josekis really aren't that important, but I think they really are, because if you don't know certain Josekis and stuff, then it's hard to do what you want to do on the board. Sure, you might get lucky and actually play out a Joseki correctly, but that's not usually the case in most cases. Uh, so right here, you wouldn't know if the Joseki was this move or if it was this move for some reason, unless you actually studied Joseki. So I would say for beginner players, knowing fighting and stuff is definitely very important. But I think if you're really trying to improve, knowing Joseki and Fuseki is very important. Because you can fight all you want, but if you just put yourself in a weak position every game, then it's going to be very hard to win games. So, yeah, that's basically what I want to say what the Sonren say anyways. So if you took another example like Orthodox, I guess. So with Orthodox, or even with this enclosure at P3 and R4, most of us know what Black is after. He's after this enclosure, or this extension off of his enclosure, um, along with the kind of extension at Q16. Now Black has a nice Moyo, and he's has territory on the bottom right, and Black got what he wanted. So generally as white, we don't want Black to get just exactly what he wanted, so we'll go ahead and play there ourselves. I guess I should go also over the difference between these, the high and the low on the side, just in case you guys don't know. With the low, it's generally typical when you're trying to invade a certain area, because if you do play high, Black can try to undercut you like this, and it takes another move to try to create a base, or to make it so Black can't undercut you. You can't just double extend, because then Black can just go under. So is white, you want to go like this, because then Black can't really undercut you anymore. You can just make a base. Just in case you didn't know. And as Black is also kind of nice, play on the fourth line, because it's not like you're trying to invade, you're trying to create a Moyo. But you could play on the third line if you wanted as Black. But anyways, so right here, you know what your opponent wants to do. He wants to play on the right side. He wants to create a Moyo there. So, this is actually something I saw in game earlier. And Black backed off right here. And then it went like this. And if you can see this, now all of Black's stones are completely safe. It has a pretty good amount of territory down there. It's not easy to reduce as Black. And Black still has a weakness right here, well then, so he'll have to respond. Otherwise, in case you guys don't know the variation, goes something like this. And Black loses a lot of points. So anyways, this is another case in which you really should know Joseki and Fuseki. So, as most of us know, the correct move in this case would be to play in. But again, on the board you have to know what you're doing, and what you want to do in the beginning of the game is much concerning your knowledge about Joseki and Fuseki. But it's also just knowing what is the most important part on the board. So let's say it went like this, and let's just say played out a variation. Say we had a variation like this. So as white, we should kind of know where we want to play and where we don't want to play. So first, you should think about what's the easiest part to develop and what's the hardest part to develop. The hardest part to develop is where Black already has stones. So as you can see, Black already has stones on the bottom right and on the top. So the hardest parts to develop are then going to be those places. So for white to try to play around those spaces right now isn't really a wise choice. because it's going to be very difficult to develop this area, because for one, black's pretty strong, so he can try to invade if he wants to, or or he can just leave it and play somewhere else, and then it would take another move for you to fix. So, and then this isn't even completely developed. So, when you're also thinking about where to play in these situations, always think about what's the easiest place to develop. And in this case, it would be somewhere around here, maybe on the bottom, but not really on the top in this case. So, again, sorry about that. I kind of got off on a couple little rants, but my main intention was just to talk about the importance of Josekis and Fusekis and what you want to do on the board, and how having knowledge of Joseki and Fusekis are really important to improve your game. And if you don't really know Josekis and Fusekis, you're not really going to too much know what you want to do on the board in the beginning of the game. And although fighting is very important, it's if you don't know the beginning Josekis and Fusekis, and you're really not going to be able to put yourself in a good position to win games. So again, this was kind of a strange lecture because it was kind of vague. So if you have any questions or anything, just comment. And if you don't still understand, I could play a game with you or whatever. So please subscribe if you liked it. And I'm still a little bit busy, but I'll be unbusy soon. So I'll try to get some more videos up. And I'll see you guys later.